Hello, Libra. This is your reading for the week of March 24th. Excuse me, or whenever you hear this and it resonates with you. So I had a very interesting, several things drop in. So please bear with me because I'm not sure how they all fit together yet. The first thing that I saw was a bar chart where somebody is charting statistics, and normally that would be numbers. But what I got here was this is a charting of your feelings. So the first thing that I want to say about that is that the sense that I'm getting when I look at that chart is that this is going to be a very helpful tool for you. Because what I was getting as I was investigating it was that you're not always quick to be able to know what it is you're feeling, what it is important for you. And because of that, sometimes you make choices and decisions that are not coming so much from your center as from the anxiety and the concern around your center. So what I'm being told, it's shedding season and my cat is just really, really enjoying that. What I'm being told is that if you can imagine using this chart and you're using it to make a decision about choices that you have. Let's pick something easy. Let's pick something like the kind of food you want to eat for supper. So you can make a bar chart for Thai food, Italian food, Greek food, Lebanese food. And you can say, okay, now if I were to put my feeling about this food on a chart, how far up would it go? Oh, I think it would go up to there. And now compare that to how I feel about the Italian food. Oh, no, that's dropping down. And you could do that with all your different foods. And it may sound really silly, but the idea of taking it and allowing yourself to chart whatever it is you're feeling in your body externally through a visual, it's almost as though what it does is it allows you to bypass the anxiety, because now you're doing something concrete and you're taking it one step away from your nervous system. It's now out there and it's on paper. But instead of writing about it, pros and cons, this is just another way to start engaging the creative side of your brain, which is also where your intuitive information comes from. So that's something that I've never heard that before in my life. That was something they offered me today for you. Now, as I was starting then to pull the cards and say, what does that have to do with what's going to be happening for Libra? I got the song, Ain't That a Kick in the Head? Now, it's an old song from Dean Martin originally and then Frank Sinatra. And I thought, I didn't like the idea of a kick in the head, but when I looked up the lyrics, it's, I kissed her and she kissed me. How lucky can one guy be? And then it goes on, I hugged her and she hugged me. How lucky can one guy be? As the gentleman said, ain't that a kick in the head? So a kick in the head is just kind of like, wow, isn't that amazing? But the fact that it's around a relationship, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, is this really about a love relationship, or is this simply about a relationship specifically? And I think it is around, for some of you, it will probably be around a romantic relationship. But for others of you, it can just be around any kind of relationship, negotiation, anything where there are two points of view, two potential points of view, okay? And then, so for me then, that goes along perfectly with the bar chart that they were showing me in the beginning. Because what that's doing is it's saying, okay, before you're making decisions about this relationship, about this discussion, check in with what it is you are really feeling. The first card that I pulled is love. And this is so important for you, Libras. This love, this card, you've probably heard me discuss it before, but it really literally is about The idea of love not being something that is given to this person or to that person, it's something that radiates from us. So now if we want to look at this and we want to say, okay, what does this have to do with relationships? What does this, any kind of relationships? What does this have to do with emotion, charting emotion? This goes back to you needing to know what it is you're feeling and what it is you're wanting. Libra, I don't know if you are familiar with this sensation, but there's a way of loving where it is kind of like, here, 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 here. And then there's a kind of loving that is here. One is almost pursuing, almost emptying yourself out for somebody. And that's coming from anxiety, okay? And that has often that sense of desperation with it, need to be approved of, need to secure something, need to be safe with somebody, so you give, and sometimes you overgive, and you don't set boundaries. The other kind of loving is where you are allowing it to exist in you and through you. And it's literally like you create this field and you allow people entry. You allow people access to this love, but you don't have to chase them to give it. Okay? So it's that beautiful sense also, because we're talking energy. So if you chase somebody, if you're in a situation where you feel like you have to chase somebody or chase something, then what you're doing basically is you're setting up a dynamic where they get to run, right? That is the dynamic of the energy you're creating. If, on the other hand, so then what you will probably do is the most likely scenario, or a very likely scenario, is that you'll end up being in a relationship with people who are never quite fully present with you, never quite fully really on board, okay? They may be even with you in relationship, but they may not necessarily really be partnered in an integrated way where you are being seen and felt and heard as well as they are. The other thing, when you think about it from the position of just being in that state of love and letting it radiate and letting it welcome people in, then what you're going to get is you're going to be more inclined to get the kind of people who are also solid in their being, wanting to come in. And you'll notice it more you'll notice when it's not that, because somebody will feel like they're crashing into it as opposed to just blending with it. Okay? So what we're looking for, Libra, is a situation where you get to be able to be strong and centered enough in your beingness that you don't have to chase after and give over and give up everything, or give in order to compensate for something, to get the attention, the love, the agreement, whatever the relationship is, of this other person. What you're looking for now is you're looking for people who value you for who you are, who are with you for who you are. And that's not perfect. That is just being who you are and seeing you for who you are. And allowing that love to radiate in a way where it magnetizes the kind of things to you that you need and that you want. There is, one of the things that very often we carry with us in terms of our ability to be loved is a feeling of shame. And that's the thing about shame, is so often we've been raised with guilt as a form of not punishment, but regulation, social regulation to behave properly. But as kids, we can take that so deeply that we become, it's not the act that's bad, it's us who becomes bad. And it's a very, very thin line between that and feeling like we are shameful and that we are unworthy. So what you're being asked to do now, Libra, is to really focus on, there is no shame. You are love. You are love. And this is the word. You are love. This is not something you have to run after. You are love. So there. Any shame that you feel that has been holding you back from that, that's where you need to be able to move into and move through. And many of you have or are in the process of it. It's that shame that creates that worry about if we're doing things right, if we're making the right choice, okay? Now, the reason in anything, the reason the barcode experiment or chart experiment that they're offering you to use is valuable is because it is taking that question of whether or not you're right in what you're feeling that you can't get to because you're in a state of anxiety and overanalyzing, because that's the other face of worry, right? Is just this overanalyzing. Is it gets you to be able to say, okay, now, what if I were to chart this and not worry about what it looks like and not feel like I have to get it right before I even start it? What if I just play with it and experiment with it and say, what if? What if I were able to identify these different areas of my life or these different choices, and I were to guess at the amount of pleasure each one of them will give me, or the amount of openness each one gives me, or the joy thinking about it each one gives me, and you were just to just let your imagination play with that, that can be very helpful in you understanding what it is you want, where your choices can be grounded in well-being instead of working through that lens of anxiety and worry and perfectionism. Okay. Now, the thing is, this is just one suggestion that the guides have given for playing with this. But the reality is, and this is something that struck me earlier today when I was thinking about you, is that it's really all about learning how your mind works and then tricking it. And when I say tricking it, it's like not even just, it's tricking it, but it's tricking it in a way that's a kindly trick. It's like saying, oh yeah. Okay, mind, I see what you're doing here with that. Well, what if I do this to you? What if I just say all of a sudden, for example, none of those rules matter? What if I just say to you, mind, well, what if I'm not really frightened? What if I'm just excited? What happens then? This is where you get to really be strong in your ability to play with your good qualities. Now let's enumerate some of your good qualities. And if you haven't already, I suggest this to every single one of you. Write down a list of all the good qualities that you have, all the things you like about yourself, all of the things that you have been proud of or complimented for. And let that list be there. And realize that you're always going to underestimate yourself, that there's always going to be more, and allow for that as part of your new adventure. It's so important to watch how you talk to yourself. I know I've said this before to you, Libra, but it's really, really important. Now we're focusing on all the good, and we're going to say for now, for this week, for however long, talking badly to myself or limiting myself is not part of the formula. Now we're going to say, oh no, it's not that I don't know what I feel. It's that there's just this shadow of anxiety around me that's making it difficult for me to feel it in my body. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my art. I'm going to use my imagination. I'm going to use whatever to chart it and just see what happens with that, or to make a painting about it, or to doodle, or to dance and express what you're feeling through movement, through vision, through sound, and just see how that starts moving that energy in a way where you can identify it beyond the anxiety. That's kind of cool, really. I like that. Thank you, guys. And so this is really all about you being positive. This is do it big. Focus in that sense of love. Watch your words. Focus on and notice all the good qualities and know that there are more that you have not identified yet. And say yes. Say yes to everything good. Say yes to everything that is at least benevolent. And really seriously do it big and act as though, just like get engaged in this whole way of being. Of yes, you are better than you think you are. You know more. You have more skills than you've ever given yourself credit for. You've often put people above you in terms of their skill base. Not anymore, guys, girls, people. No, not anymore. This is time for you to engage for yourself, okay? So please have a the world's a bit crazy right now. And so it's very easy to kind of catch the negative and catch the fear and catch the anxiety that's in the group consciousness right now. So just really pay attention. I'm saying this, I will probably say this to everybody. And that is to really watch that you don't let that kind of seep in and overpower you right now. Because especially for those of you who are working on being more open and more empathetic and empathic, yeah, you can definitely be more susceptible to that, okay? So please be aware, say yes, be positive, engage in all positive things for yourself. And there you go. I'm going to stop, or I'm just going to repeat, okay? Thank you, Libra. Take care, my dears.